Alright, let's pour this beer. Beer. Nice, nice color. Good hit. Alright guys, we just poured the double IPA out of the keg. And let's see, the beer that we just poured, I did 2 videos on. The first video was using San Diego super yeast, and that San Diego super yeast from White Labs cleaned up so fast. I think it was done, I want to say in like 48 hours, and it started right away. And the yeast that I pitched, I just pitched a vial. I didn't use a starter or anything, and it just went crazy, like immediately. And then the second video I did was when I sent beer mail to Rick, RXP50 or something like that, to Rick up in Reading, and I was showing you guys how to bottle growlers and bottle beer from the keg. And so this particular beer has been featured in 2 videos, and I'll link those below. I really didn't know what I was going to name it. I was going to try to name it It's Not You, It's Me Ale, or Hoppy Ending, but I think someone already took Hoppy Ending. But it's a double IPA, 8% alcohol, and these are my notes from Brewed. Crystal malt, Crystal 20, a bunch of Munich in there, and then it's kind of like, I want to say it's kind of like my junk beer, and it turned out really well. But what it was I had all this leftover stuff because I've been brewing like every weekend for, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks. So I had all these hops left over from other batches, and all this, like some orange peel and some dark Belgian candy sugar and a bunch of stuff. So basically I just took all that stuff and threw it in the boil, everything that I thought would make the IPA, you know, as hoppy as a West Coast, but not annihilating. And to add a little bit of sweetness, I used some Belgian candy sugar. And then at the end of the boil, I flamed out with some orange peel to add a little more citrus and aroma. The hops I used in the boil was a 60-minute Warrior, and then Centennial, Atanum, Columbus, and Cascade. So I used a ton of hops, over almost 5 ounces of hops in the boil itself, and then I dry hopped it. It looks like I dry hopped it for 3 weeks. Dry hopped it for 3 weeks with more Warrior, another ounce of Warrior, more Centennial, more Atanum, and then I used Columbus and Cascade, so I think I added another 6 ounces of hops in the dry hop to total 11 ounces of hops in just this 5-gallon keg. Then I kegged it up. I did hop it for, I think I just mentioned 3 weeks. So here's the tasting. Now Rick over in Reading, he already reviewed the beer, I think, so I'll link his video down here in the comments, or in the more info section as well, so there'll be a few links there. But you saw in the keg I had about a 2-finger head. It's kind of dissipated, so it's a little lighter right now. It's got just a little foam cap around it. I'm going to swirl it around a little bit to get some of the aroma out. I'm using a Hoegaarden, not Hoegaarden, it's pronounced Hoegaarden, Octoglass. And we'll get the smell on it. So definitely the 3 C's come out immediately, the Centennial, Columbus, Cascade. And then, for as much orange peel as I used, I think I used 1.6 ounces, and for as much orange peel as I used, I don't really smell the actual, I use sweet orange peel, and I don't really smell that sweetness that comes out. I do smell more of like a candied caramel nose in there. I think it's just been overpowered by the candy sugar. I put a ton of candy sugar in there. I just used everything I had and threw it in the boil. And the color is just your classic rustic bronze metal, amber, kind of hazy, double IPA color. It's spot on in terms of the style. What else can I say about this beer? Gravity was high. It was like 1.09 something or other. I got a bunch of chicken scratch here, and it attenuated really well. So it turned out as a 8% alcohol beer. I think I already said that. And let's get to the taste. Wow. I think, to be perfectly honest with you, I think this is the best beer I've brewed so far. Out of all my batches of beer, this is probably the best one I've brewed so far. Awesome. I'm not surprised that it turned out well, even though it was all my leftover ingredients. They were really good ingredients, and I put them together pretty well where I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted some of the sweetness to cut in the hoppiness. This one, the boil was only a 60-minute boil, so the IPA isn't super West Coast. It's more approachable, it's more drinkable. It's for your IPA fans who aren't complete hopheads, okay? But it's got the... it's a double, and you know it's a double, but it doesn't annihilate your palate. You can still, you can fairly drink another beer after this that's not an IPA, and your taste buds won't be completely annihilated. But you do taste that bittering from the Warrior hops, and immediately it's cut in by just a little bit of sweetness from the candy sugar, and then a lot of crystal mid malt on the mid palate. Finishes dry. Oh, look at how much I drank already. Finishes dry, and the bitterness actually just kind of dissipates. It doesn't linger too much. It's a little bit oily on the finish in here, but on your tongue just completely dries out, and that's what makes this really cool to drink as a you don't have to, usually when you drink a double IPA, you drink it at the end of your session. So you drink the lighter beers, and and you work up to when you get a double IPA, because after this your mouth is shot and you won't be able to taste anything, and even if you're not eating like really flavorful foods or really pungent cheeses, you're not going to taste anything after you drink one of these. But here, since it was only a 60-minute boil as opposed to a 90-minute boil, and I've made this with a 90-minute boil, and it was super West Coast, since it was a 60-minute boil, it's dangerously drinkable. I mean, in 2 sips, I'm almost done with nearly 16 ounces of beer. %8 alcohol, so be really careful. If I send you beer mail and I send you more than a small growler, drink it at home, please. Or drink it somewhere where you're not driving. Or share it with someone. But I'm going to give this one a B+. And I'm kind of my own worst critic, because if I bought this in the store and I drank it just as it was, it would have probably been an A beer. But I'm nitpicking right now, and I know I could do a little bit better. I think I would boil it for at least another 15 minutes, do a 75-minute boil, and just get the bittering up a little, maybe increase the amount of Warrior that I use by probably a half an ounce. And the dry hop is perfect. I think I would probably add some earthiness, maybe some from Fuggle or Styrian Goldings or something. But beyond that, I really think this is the best beer I've ever brewed. I do have a Belgian quad. If you look at my actual channel, there's a wallpaper on my famous Belgian quad, and I'll pop that open in a little bit and see how that turns out. It's been aging for almost a year, I think. But that's just an update on the actual beer that I've showed on a couple of videos, so I wanted you guys to see that. If you guys want some beer mail, message me and I'll send you a little mini growler full. And if you would review it for me and give me your honest thoughts, that'd be awesome too. Alright guys, and then this is that beer. This is the Belgian quad with cinnamon that I just showed you guys in the very last video on how to brew with dry malt extract. And it's fermenting pretty good right now. It's fermenting at a lower temperature than I'd like. So I'm probably going to turn the heater on, but it's fermenting at like 66 degrees. But it's going. Let me get some light over here. And you don't want to really light up your beer when it's going like that, because you really want to keep it under cover. But you can see all that yeast, you know, populating and eating all the sugar and having a good time. It's got a nice little Rocky Mountain head on it. Airlock's not going as fast as it was before, so but you can see from the activity, it's just super gnarly. It's going. Got a good amount of sediment. We're going to secondary it. But I do keep them under, like here, this is our other gluten-free beer, and I keep it under a box like that. So you can use your box. What I did was cut out the box that it came in, and I just cut a hole on top of it, and then I slip it right on top of it, right on top upside down. So you can easily take it off and take a look, and then just slip it back on there. Alright guys, so that is the end of this video. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back next time. See you guys later. Done. That's a wrap.